All right, let's do the day drinking thing. Cheers. Welcome back, everybody, to me doing the weekly navel-gazing, the thing where I talk about all the books I read last week, the things, the books I plan to read this week, the videos I didn't make last week, the videos I made last week or didn't, and, of course, what I plan to do this week, and then it usually descends into rambling. So, grab yourself maybe a drink or not a drink, and let's get chatting and talk about books I read last week, because I did read some books. Isn't that great? So, I did, of course, finish Empire of Illusions by Chris Hedges, about, the death of literacy and the triumph of spectacle, as the subtitle said. And then I did read American Fascists, How the Christian Right and Its War Against America by Chris Hedges, which, also a pretty good book. And then I reread A Brief History of Neoliberalism by David Harvey, because, it felt like an appropriate read. And then I read On the Wrong Side, How American Universities Are Protecting Perpetrators and Harming Victims of Sexual Violence by Nicole Bedera. And, it's a very brutal book, not gonna lie. It's also an excellent book. If you have ever thought about, anything connected to sexual violence and so forth in any way or form, you will benefit from reading this book, because it does explore the underlying sort of like systemic issues that lead to a lot of the harm that is perpetrated in that regard still. So you might be, it'll make you angry and it'll make you very frustrated, I assume, but hopefully you'll learn something from it. That's kind of the goal there. Really good book. And then I did read and finish Imaro, which is book 1 in the Imaro series by Charles R. Saunders, which is, a black sword and sorcery hero written by a black American writer from the 1980s all the way, 1974 is, I think, the first published story. They were collected in like a series of novels. 3 of those were published in the 80s, a 4th one later, and they are finally, hopefully, getting audiobook releases. This one is built on the 2005 new release or re-release of the Imaro books, and came out in Europe as an audiobook earlier this year, and really good. I really enjoyed it. There may be a video on it later on. And I am still finishing up Matthew Motta's Anti-Scientific Americans, The Prevalence, Origins, and Political Impact or something of Anti-Intellectualism in the US. It's a very scientific text with lots of study evaluations and shit, so it's dry, but it's an important book, and hopefully by the time you are watching this, I have finished that book as well, because I kind of needed to. So that's sort of where we are with books I've read last week. Books I'm planning to read this week, I have no idea. Frankly, I have one that I'm definitely going to read as probably tomorrow, maybe the day after, and that is, of course, A Dying Colonialism by Frantz Fanon, which is, exactly that. It's notes from the Algerian Civil War, or War of Independence, and it's going to be fun, I'm sure, right? It's all fun and games and joyful things. No, it's one of those key texts of, post-colonialism, anti-colonialism, anti-imperialism, and it's so worth reading, and a lot of the Frantz Fanon stuff has recently been finally released in audio format, so I'm very happy to have that and read that. Beyond that, I have no idea what I'll pick up next. There's a bunch of things I could pick up on the 15th, which I think is Thursday? No, wait, that's tomorrow. So tomorrow I will definitely get myself What Is Left by Malcolm Harris, which is a book about 3 ways out of the global climate crisis. I'm sure this will be another really positive, upbeat kind of book. Can't wait to get to that one. And beyond that, probably some more fiction. I'll just have to figure out what to read next in that regard. If you have ideas, tips, whatever, let me know in the comments. And maybe something will strike a nerve and I'll go, yes, that's what we'll do. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. My large collection of Bronte and Jane Austen novels has also finally been released in audiobook, so I have like 105 hours of Edwardian novels. I just need to feel confident, or not necessarily confident, but like I need to feel like, well, this is really what I want to read right now, and then I need to pick one of those, that huge pile of books, and we'll see where that is going. But it's going to happen. for sure. And I mean, the thing is, I don't feel like reading all Jane Austen novels and all of the books or novels of the Bronte sisters back to back. I don't think that's a good approach. So I'm going to pick one, and then I'm going to do something else, and then I'll pick another one. And so slowly over time, I will hopefully become a more rounded reader when it comes to experience and stuff. I will hopefully not become an intellectual. We don't want that. So that's the plans for reading and stuff. So let's talk about videos for a moment, and then we'll see where this is going. Yeah, I didn't make any videos. It's very simple. I started recording a video, but I am not very happy with the result, so I have to film that one, and that will, unfortunately, take a bit. Hopefully, maybe I'll manage to do it today. Maybe it'll happen tomorrow. It's certainly it is a video, a follow-up on the anti-intellectualism thing. It's still happening on booktube, and it's still making me angry. So yeah, the thing that I'm going to do, and I've kind of decided how to go about this, is to make one video on the history of anti-intellectualism in America in particular, and then make another one after that. So when we talk about the stuff around book talk and booktube and that kind of discourse, and hopefully that will then, that allows me to sort of like actually point to the things, to the points I'm making in the video on the history of anti-intellectualism. And yeah, so I started recording the video on anti-intellectualism, and yeah, it's one of those problems that I often struggle with, and that is, there's a lot to be said about this, right? I've read 4 books, 5 books, maybe, that are directly linked to that, and I've read like additional books that sort of like impinge on the topic in all kinds of ways, and it's very, very easy for me to then get lost in the weeds, especially, possibly that's because I'm, not writing a script, but reading, but speaking from the heart, so to speak, like making it up as I go along, and that makes it very easy to get sidetracked, especially if you're someone like me with like ADHD, and you're like, oh wait, I need to tell people that thing as well. So that's one of those like dumb problems that I'm wrestling with, where if I would write down a strict sort of script and read that script, that would probably work much better, but I can't, because I can't read the script, so that's kind of fucked. All right, so that is something that will hopefully happen this week, because I will get back to that video and start re-recording it. I think I've learned what I did wrong the first time around, so hopefully this one will it'll get easier, and then I'll put that one up later this week, hopefully. I am also very much thinking about making a video on that first Imaro novel, and that would probably go much easier, because there is a lot to be said about Imaro, and I think it's interesting and worth talking about. But it is just one book, so making a video on just one book, I think, is something I could hopefully get through without getting sidetracked too much. And then there is, of course, the Mormonism video. I think my whole face situation has healed enough for me to go back and actually start recording that video, and if so, I will go back and re-record bits and pieces, and again, just like chipping away at it. I don't give any deadlines on that anymore. It will happen this year. Hopefully it'll happen this month, but it'll be ready when it's ready. I can't I don't want to give like deadlines and then fail them again and again and again, because that's a really, really, frustrating thing for me in particular. Because this is important, right? If I have deadlines and I fail those deadlines, it's very easy for me to then do nothing and have the feeling of the failure of the deadline sort of like make it even more difficult for me to do anything. And that's certainly what has happened with the Mormonism video, where I'm like, I need to get this out by then, and then I'm paralyzed by that pressure. Sometimes that pressure works really well, and I do the thing that I wanted to do in like a very short time, and it's really good. The results are really, really good, which is also part of the ADHD thing. But once there's like multiple of these things kind of intersecting, that's where things can get like very, very paralyzing. For example, I wanted to record the video on history of anti-intellectualism last week. And then I remembered that there was something else that I had to do, and had a fixed deadline. And then I sort of like got stuck in this weird rut between like, I want to do this, but I have this external deadline for the other thing, and I couldn't focus on either of the two projects. So at the end, I did not meet that deadline for what is at the end of the day just translating an interview I made with a band earlier this year. And that's not hard, right? I listen to it, I translate it and transcribe it, and that's that. It shouldn't be hard to do that. But because of the way like my brain works, it's basically impossible. I know the steps of doing this, which is, take my phone, open the audio file, listen to a sentence, type it down, and I can't. My brain just like stops working. And in the end, every moment while I'm trying to do the one thing, I'm thinking about the other thing. And as soon as I go like, well, okay, then fuck that. I'm going to do the video first, get it out of my system, and then I go back to the other thing. Then I can't focus on that because, yeah, I'm really bad at prioritizing. And yeah, that is unfortunately very much an ADHD thing. And I don't know what to do about it. I wish I knew. A lot of it, I think, is just practice, therapy, and other bits and pieces that kind of come together. Medication, of course, as well. I'm taking that, but it's not easy, especially in like a situation where I'm at right now with this, which is like a very unstructured sort of like thing, right? Like structures can help with that, but there's no real structures in my life. I'm trying to build some in, like, going to the gym every day and all of that stuff, but that's still like me building up structures, and I don't trust myself much, so I'm really good at not listening to myself. So that's partly what has been sort of like making it really hard for me to focus on anything, to do anything like video-wise, to be productive in a meaningful way. Possibly, the weather is part of it as well. It's very sunny here. It's almost too sunny, but it's also like very tempting to just like sit in the sun, like, listen to music and maybe have a drink or whatever, and just not do anything. That's really tempting, and I'm really good at tempting myself. So that's also partly what kind of comes into that. And then obviously there's other elements like looking at like YouTube videos, and having that really successful video with like the anti-intellectualism thing kind of raises all these like pressures, like the next one has to do really well as well, right? And then maybe, but like if I do another one on like the anti-intellectualism video topic, doesn't that feel like I'm trying to recapture that success, that I'm trying to do the same thing again and again and copying that because I feel it's going to go well? Am I doing this because I feel I have to do it? Or am I doing this because I, deep down in there in my heart, I'm like, well, it's going to make big numbers and it's going to be successful. But I start questioning my own motives, and that's always really bad because, as you may or may not know, the thing that really drives me usually is sort of like morals in a lot of ways, right? Like I've said this before, it's like what I want to do is I want to change the world. Problem is I don't have many things I can do to change the world. One of them might just be making these kind of videos and talking about, stuff that really makes me angry, in the hopes that people understand why these things are bad, and then people decide to do better things, and maybe pointing out ways of doing stuff better. So that's sort of like a fundamental part of what I do. Like integrity and morals are very, very important to me in a lot of ways. So once I start questioning my motive and go like, well, am I doing this because I want to make the world better? Am I doing this because I feel there is a need to do this? Or am I doing this because of money? Or, well, not exactly, money is, it's ad money on YouTube. It's not exactly going to be like piles and piles of cash, right? But am I doing this for the numbers, or am I doing this for the right reasons? And yeah, you can get lost in that really, really quickly. At least I can, and that's really frustrating. So yeah, that's kind of a lot of the stuff that's been like sort of like haunting me the last week. Then of course I did make like last week's weekly Navel-Gazing, and I did all right. But I didn't get like a single comment, and I'm like, holy shit, is anyone really watching this anymore? What's going on there? And it starts, maybe it's just, something random or whatever, right? But it's easy to start questioning myself in these kind of ways, and that's sort of something that I need to figure out. And then there is, of course, a final thing, which is, will there be a live stream this month? Because it turns out last Saturday of the month is the Saturday where I'm at Keep It True Festival, so probably not gonna stream there because I'll be at a festival, and that's not a place to stream. Maybe that would mean like the Saturday before that. That's this Saturday, and I don't know if I have time on Saturday. I may have time on Sunday, but that's Easter Sunday, and I don't know about you guys, but like, are you celebrating Easter Sunday, or are you going like, well, actually, it would be really neat if we had something else to do on Easter Sunday and hang out and talk about, I don't know, history, politics, books, and all the other wonderful things that make this world so amazing and positive and everything, right? Is that something that will happen? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you're up for like this Sunday, even though it is Easter. And we'll find a way to make that happen. So yeah, that's roughly where I'm at the moment. It's all weird, it's all chaotic, it's all unformed, and I really hope I can get the video on the history of anti-intellectualism out, because I think I have something to say there. And I have read like 4, 5, 6 books on the subject at this point, so would be kind of stupid to waste that sort of understanding. So hopefully that'll happen in the next day or 2, and maybe I'll see something else that really makes me angry, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta yell at the camera for a couple of minutes. And there's certainly potential for that, right? I know there's like a video that Mike from Mike's Book Reviews made on why he's annoyed with contemporary fantasy, and I'm pretty sure I will violently disagree with him. But it's like, am I actively seeking this out so I can get angry and then like make a video being angry at Mike about it? Or is it easier or better for me, smarter for me to not even go there, because it's, yeah, would be very easy, but also very much just something where it feels a bit cheap in a way, I guess. But who knows? Maybe I'll cave, maybe I won't. Who knows? Anyway, thanks for sticking with me. I do really appreciate it. If you have like anything to say, please do it down in the comments. Let me know about the streaming thing, suggest books, do those kind of things. Let me know anything else you want to tell me about whatever it is you want to talk about. And yeah, like, subscribe, I don't know, join the Patreon if you feel like it or think you can afford it, or join the channel if you feel like that. I do appreciate money, don't get me wrong. I'm still very much broke and in debt, but it's not the most important thing. The most important part is that you guys watch these things and that you guys engage with me and talk to me, and that's why I'm doing this. So yeah, thanks for all of that. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, thanks and cheers.